why being a DC fan sucks. I don't know if I agree, guys. Let me know in the comments if you think being a DC fan sucks. I'm not really sure where they're going with this. This video isn't old, really. So I expect some new things in here to tell us why it sucks to be a DC fan.
Okay, so this video is about to sound very gatekeepy, and honestly, I don't think that's always such a bad thing.
Okay.
And when I say that it sucks to be a DC fan, what I really mean is that it's emotionally exhausting to care this much about a universe that constantly feels like it's being mishandled.
All right. Already, I am 100% on board. It is exhausting to be part of a universe like this that is constantly being mishandled. Yes. I mean, at this point, I just want them to finish something. You know what I mean? Like, finish something. We didn't finish Superman Returns. You know, we didn't finish Lois and Clark in the 90s. We didn't finish the DCEU. DC doesn't finish stuff. They finished Smallville, though. Actually, they didn't, because they went on season 11 and then they... Okay. Anyways.
It's ridiculous. Now, us DC fans, we're not casuals, okay? If you are still here now, supporting DC, it means that you have survived endless cancellations.
Right, exactly.
Reboots,
that's where we are, guys.
Overhauls, online culture wars.
We're survivors.
Corporate mergers, and the constant promise that this time will be better.
Yeah.
You know, I know that the last movie, the last franchise, the last project, whatever, was garbage.
I didn't like that Batsuit. I liked Ben Affleck as Batman, but that Justice League Batsuit, it almost was like they were trying to nod to the blue and gray, but they didn't quite get it, so his black just looks weak, you know?
But this time, it will all make sense. It will be okay. Now, to me, one of the worst things about being a DC fan is having to constantly be on the defensive. You are always having to defend why you love this universe.
Put it in the comments if you have that happen to you.
The characters in it, and you're
I'm always having to defend why I like Man of Steel, why I like James Gunn's Superman. I'm having to defend all kinds of stuff. I also have to defend why I don't rate any of those things at a 9 or a 10, why they're not perfect to me, you know?
Always going to look like a freak to your friends,
Exhausting.
Especially if those friends are Marvel fans or, you know, they just don't like DC.
Superman's
You're always
too
gonna
easy.
look weird, and it's just so frustrating. I mean, it feels like we're living in a permanent state of cautious optimism, and that's no way to live. It's just miserable.
I feel you. That's it. It's DC.
But the thing is, it wasn't always like that. And so to understand why this feeling exists, we need to go back to a time when DC didn't feel like an underdog.
All right.
When it truly felt.
When was that? When did we have an invincible DC? Do y'all... He's going to have his own opinions, but put it in the comments when the last time you felt like we didn't have questions on DC. You know what I mean? Like we were just like, yeah, it's good. I know when New 52 came out in the comics, it felt really good. But it wasn't that way in what was going on with, you know, the theater.
The 90s and 2000s weren't just a good time for DC. They were truly a...
See, I don't include, though, because, you know, Superman died, and it was like, dang, that's a good story, but it really sucked that we kind of kicked him out for a while. A whole year.
Defining era. This was the period where DC felt confident, intentional, and honestly just ahead of everyone else.
They were.
And the reason why...
He's right.
There wasn't really a lot of competition. You know, Marvel went bankrupt in the 90s. They had to save themselves by selling out all of their movie rights to different studios and companies, and those studios didn't really know what to do with the IPs that they had.
Yeah.
Honestly, a lot of them were afraid of the comic book genre. They didn't really know how to translate it properly in the modern era. So we got a lot of movies with people wearing black leather, with the obvious exception of the Spider-Man movies.
I liked both the X-Men and Spider-Man movie, the first ones that came out. It was an epic time to be a fan of those things. It really was.
Now, that's not to say that those projects were bad. A lot of them were critical successes, but it still felt like Marvel was kind of on the back foot trying to catch up at the time.
It did.
DC
He's right.
was at its peak.
Yeah.
It was thriving. But honestly, I think the live action movies played a very small role in what made DC a powerhouse at the time. I think...
Now, Batman Begins and Superman Returns made applicable money amounts. So it is interesting that Superman Returns, it just wasn't what the studio wanted, you know?
Animation is what brought it to the top. DC animation ruled for over a decade. From 1992 to 2006, our televisions were blessed with BTAS, STAS, Justice League,
Yep.
JLU, Batman Beyond. Static Shock.
I didn't
the list
watch
goes
much
on.
of Batman
And that's
Beyond.
not even mentioning the countless DC animated movies that we got that were outside of the universe. But honestly, I think the DCAU is
Yeah,
the
there's so many. I played a clip one day from, or I saw a clip one day from Batman, Superman Public Enemies, and I was like, "What is that from, guys? I don't remember that scene." And they told me, and I was like, after I realized, I was like, not only do I have that DVD, it's been opened, I've watched it, I've seen it. They have that many where you just don't even remember that you saw it.
closest thing that we've had to an MCU equivalent in the DC universe. You know, everything was connected. It was so satisfying. And while Marvel did have shows at the time that were connected by very loose threads, it was nothing like this.
We help you guys save the world and we don't even get any consideration?
You're right. 5-minute head start.
Now, you might be thinking, he's just glazing. He's blinded by nostalgia. And maybe, I guess, but back then,
That can happen, but I think what he's saying is true, guys. Let me know if you think in the comments. Those were times that people weren't complaining and going, "Oh, the stuff they're doing with Batman in the animated series," or "Oh, they're really messing up Superman in the animated series." It wasn't happening. It wasn't happening. Except maybe the design. I didn't like the design as a kid of those superhero styles, but I didn't complain too much.
things were just simple, you know? Our favorite fictional universes weren't yet tainted by the adult world's pessimism, and I had yet to find out how many stupid
was a little
people
bit.
there are on the internet. So I wish I could go back to those days. That would be perfect, please. But this feeling didn't last forever.
That's growing up, buddy. That's what happens.
Along came Marvel, and the entire landscape shifted overnight.
That's what
Iron
did
Man
it.
in 2008
Yep.
wasn't just successful.
Yep.
It changed the
As a Superman fan, I absolutely loved Iron Man. That first movie, I was like, yes. Yes. Except that secret identity thing. Hated that.
rules. It
I
proved
love secret
superhero
identities.
movies could be interconnected, serialized, and culturally dominant. Marvel didn't just make movies. They made homework feel fun. They trained audiences to show up for everything because it all mattered. Missing one movie meant missing context, and you were just left out. Over time, Marvel became the default superhero identity. You didn't need to justify liking Marvel, you didn't need to explain it, it was socially accepted, even encouraged. Marvel's tone became the industry standard. Quippy dialogue, bright visuals, consistent branding, post-credit scenes, and if your project could not replicate these things, it was just considered garbage, not worth the money. Meanwhile, DC became the comparison point. Every DC movie was judged by how close it felt to Marvel, even when it was intentionally doing something different. If DC went dark, it was too edgy. If DC went lighter, it was copying Marvel. There was no winning. So while DC was left in the dust, Marvel
You really can't copy Marvel or copy DC. The reason I say that, these writers and directors and, screenplay art, they all switch back and forth and go around. That's been that way in the comics. I mean, it's just what happens. You know what I mean? Like, it's the people in charge that are utilizing. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Marvel's momentum kept growing. Even mediocre projects succeeded because the brand promised payoffs later. That was the nature of this interconnected
Not a bad way of looking at it.
universe. DC didn't get that luxury. Every project had to prove itself immediately or it was written off. And this is the imbalance that shaped public
It's
perception.
really hard to get anywhere when every time you do something and it's not perfect, they write it off. They didn't do that with Batman Begins because Christopher Nolan was a very well-respected director. And, Batman Begins, I never saw what everybody was raving about. Didn't understand why it got a sequel. But when the sequel came, I was like, whoa. You know what I mean? And I feel like Man of Steel could have had that. I feel like Man of Steel could have been exactly the same, where the sequel came and people would have been like, whoa. But instead, he decided to throw Batman in there and all that crap and, just make it about Justice League instead.
Of DC, and it's something that the brand still hasn't recovered from. So while Marvel
I agree.
focused on
Not
dominating
recovered.
theaters, DC took a backseat when it came to the movies and leaned into areas they already controlled. Animation continued to be strong, consistent, and creatively free.
Yeah.
The DC animated movies were thriving.
Yeah. I saw a clip of that New Frontier. That's a good one.
DC animation could be violent, tragic, experimental, and unapologetically comic booky. It didn't need to appeal to everyone because it wasn't mainstream. Then we had the Arkham games. Arkham Asylum,
Oh, yeah.
City, Origins, Night didn't just succeed, they redefined the superhero games genre entirely. To this day, they're the gold standard.
Have y'all played the VR version, Arkham Shadow? I haven't beat it, but I've played it. I have it, and man, I want to beat it. It's really good. I'm not a huge Batman guy, but I'm a bigger Batman guy than a lot of other stuff.
DC also invested heavily in television. The CW shows weren't perfect, but they created long-running universes that introduced millions of people to characters like Flash,
Yeah,
Green
I
Arrow,
would agree with that.
Supergirl, and the Legends of Tomorrow. These shows built fan bases, they created attachment, they kept DC culturally alive. It was the next closest thing that you could have to the MCU and this big interconnected
I can't believe that's what he's saying with this picture. I'm looking at some failures in there.
universe. But the problem was, none of that mattered to the mainstream. To general audiences, movies were the thing that mattered. Not comic books,
Yeah,
not shows,
he's right.
not games.
And the way you know that is by the sheer amount of people that have seen those shows versus have seen, like, they're all the people that watch the shows combined, like one single movie will have outweighed them in views per person. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot more people saw a single movie than have seen those shows.
Movies. And DC wasn't on the scoreboard, so it wasn't going to win. So even while DC thrived creatively in other mediums, the public narrative became DC is a failing brand. DC can't keep up with Marvel.
See, and that's the problem. Acting like they can't compete with Marvel. You shouldn't be competing with Marvel. You should be making your own stories for your own great characters, not sitting there trying to be like, oh, how can we do better than those people? No, don't worry about those people. You do your characters justice, and that will come. That's what Marvel did. They weren't
DC
worried about
sucks. Even during all of this, DC still delivered undeniable greatness. The Dark Knight trilogy stands as one of the most respected trilogies in
It
film
does.
history.
He's right.
It proved DC could succeed without copying Marvel's tone or structure. But instead of building on that success, DC pivoted hard. Man of Steel arrived and immediately divided audiences.
Yeah.
Some praised its ambition, others rejected its tone. Batman v Superman amplified that divide.
Put in the comments if you liked Man of Steel or Batman vs Superman. I liked both the movies, but it wasn't how I would write it. It wasn't the direction I wanted it to go, but I thought they were enjoyable. I never understood the hate on Batman vs Superman. And then when I saw the Ultimate Cut, I was like, yeah, a lot of that hate, if they just saw this, they'd be okay.
And fractured the fan base.
Why did you say that name?
What?
It's his mother's name.
Justice
I like
League
that
became
part.
a
Still do.
public disaster, studio interference, creative clashes, and rushed decisions that were exposed for everyone to see.
Yeah.
DC stopped feeling planned and started feeling reactive. Some fans loved the
It felt reactive early on, yes.
SnyderVerse. Others hated it, but no one can deny how unstable it really was. And instability is poison for long-term storytelling. Marvel reached a point where quality almost didn't matter. If it had the logo, it succeeded. It trended. It dominated every conversation.
Yeah.
Audiences were trained to reward familiarity over experimentation. Meanwhile, DC projects had to fight for attention even when they were genuinely good. Good DC
I never even saw Blue Beetle. I think I've heard it's good. I've never even seen it.
movies underperformed. Average Marvel movies broke records. And at some point along the way through all of this, being a DC fan stopped being normal and it stopped being fun. If you said you preferred Superman to Iron Man, people looked at you weird. You were a freak. If you criticized Marvel, you were labeled a contrarian, toxic. If you defended DC, you were delusional. And sometimes
If you
it was hard
like James Gunn's Superman movie, you're a shill. If you like Man of Steel, you're a grifter.
to defend yourself because you
Which are
could
the same
agree with a
thing.
lot of the things that these people were saying. Yeah, Man of Steel sucked, but I still love Superman.
It didn't suck. It didn't suck. It sucked if you cannot let go of your perfect version of Superman. If you're able to bend that a little bit, then you realize it actually is a pretty good movie. And the Codex thing, genius. Very cool. Very cool.
When the DCU was announced, most people expected pushback from Marvel fans. I mean, that's what, would make sense. They're DC's rival. That's where you'd expect a lot of the fighting to come from. However, the loudest opposition for this new universe came from other DC fans. I'm putting DC fans in heavy quotation marks there. Enter the Snyder Writers. A group that hijacked comic spaces, declared themselves the real fans, and rejected anything that wasn't a continuation of their preferred vision.
The real fans that, like he said, that they if it was the original version of a character, they rejected it because it wasn't this version, which this version is an Elseworlds version, very clearly. I love Henry Cavill's Superman, but it's not the definitive version of Superman. It's a version of Superman, and it alters a lot.
They didn't want DC to evolve. They wanted DC frozen in time. And I don't know why I'm using past tense for this, because they're still doing it to this day. The SnyderVerse is dead. Move on, okay? Even if
I wish we could get more of it, just to see it finished. I really do. But it's not going to happen. We shouldn't be fighting against what could possibly be good. Because I had that mentality, and I liked the James Gunn movie. And I think a lot of people would like it if they just weren't like all or nothing on this. Because it wasn't so, like, I didn't rate it a 9, like Man of Steel. I didn't rate it a 10. I didn't rate it a 9. I didn't do that with James Gunn either. And it's like you've got to realize you're fighting as if it was perfection when it wasn't.
it were to come back somehow, by some miracle, some act of God, none of these actors are coming back, okay? Henry Cavill doesn't want to be Superman anymore. He is tired. He's done. He has been mistreated by the studio so many times. Ben Affleck, not coming back. He's getting too old.
Yeah.
Ray Fisher quit because of the mistreatment he experienced from Joss Whedon.
Yeah, he's probably not going to come
Gal
back.
Gadot, I think, has been canceled. It's kind of hard to keep track now.
Yeah, it is.
Ezra Miller is Ezra Miller. No one's coming back. It's dead. And honestly, I can't even really be convinced
No, Jason Momoa came back as Lobo.
that these people are actually fans of DC. They're just fans of the Snyder movies. They don't even like the IP that these movies come from, you know? You have stupid-ass tweets like this one right here. Bro went from an iconic hero to playing an unknown character, and they're talking about Jason Momoa.
You should be embarrassed about yourself if you're calling Lobo an unknown character. Just get off the internet. Just get off. You're done. It's over.
As Lobo. Lobo is not an unknown character. I mean, I guess he's unknown to you because all you do is sit your ass in theaters and watch Marvel movies. You don't engage with any other form of media when it comes to these characters. And that's just embarrassing, you know? Ya basic. Or we have this intelligent fellow right here. Green Lantern is supposed to be white. So who's gonna tell him that there's like thousands of Green Lanterns and they're actually a space-based police force? And I mean, what's ridiculous about this one specifically is he posted a picture of
There is a white. That's what I was going to say.
Jon Stewart from the New Lantern show, and then he posted a picture of Hal Jordan as Green Lantern. Both of those characters are in the show. It's not a race swap. They are two different people, and they're both in the same show.
Yeah, they're two different
And also,
lanterns.
how can you say this and claim to be a DC fan when Jon Stewart was the most popular Green Lantern for all of the 2000s? What are you talking about? Just honestly, DC fans are just conditioned to expect disappointment. Games get canceled, movies get shelved, entire franchises vanish overnight. And now we have this Netflix Warner Brothers deal. And I don't know where that deal is going to be by the time this video comes out, but I'm not happy about it. It doesn't matter who wins.
I don't know how I feel about it. Because honestly, I can claim all day something, but I don't know anything about these companies. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't know how they're going to treat the IPs and stuff. I don't know. I do know this. Whatever happens, I hope that they care about the characters deeply. That's what I hope. That they care about the characters deeply. Not the money-making possibilities, but they care about the characters deeply. Like, if I was a business owner, that's not what I meant. If I was a corporation, because I am a business owner, if I was a corporation, I would absolutely be like, hey, guys, we all love this and know a lot about this. Let's get into this business. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be like, I don't really like those characters. Maybe we can fix them. No way.
Paramount, Netflix, we all lose. If Netflix manages to get their hands on this massive catalog of IPs, it will be the death of cinema. I am not exaggerating.
I hope that
Netflix
doesn't
is
happen.
such a powerhouse in the industry.
They did state that they were going to make shorter runs on films. It's like, do you want the films to cost you more money? You know, because that's what you're doing. Like, you're making it cost more money because you're not getting as much revenue for it. You know, like, are they trying to kill cinema? You know, I mean, I don't know. Like, streaming and cinema, in my opinion, don't really compete with each other. They're different avenues, and you can do one after the other. Like I don't know.
When they make this decision,
Maybe they
other
do.
companies will be tempted to follow suit. And I know that Netflix has said, "Oh, we're not going to take movies out of theaters." Why
We're just not going to keep them there as long.
would you think they're telling the truth about that? They may keep movies in theaters, but they're going to have a severely shortened viewing window. They're not going to be in theaters for very long. I mean, just think about it. Think about it for 1 second. Netflix, I mean, their whole business model is based around the subscription service. They want you to stream movies at home. So why would they practice something that hurts their business? It doesn't make any sense. And that's not the only bad thing that would come from Netflix winning this merger. They have stated that WB Games is worthless in their eyes. They didn't even factor it into the math when they were working out this deal. That is just ridiculous. Imagine being a developer, pouring your heart and soul into these projects just for some huge mega corporation to tell you that your work is worthless. But honestly, this statement doesn't really surprise anybody because Netflix shut down their only AAA game studio, claiming that it wasn't a financially viable venture. This is so bad for games, and not just Batman games.
So they know their business, but they don't know any other.
You're probably here because you care about DC, but think of how many other IPs are going to suffer because of this. Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, The Matrix, we're cooked. Now, even if Netflix does care about DC and wants to keep putting out DC projects, we're going to get one movie every 5 years. I mean, look how long it took them to finish Stranger Things. It's not good. This is very bad. Now, Paramount wouldn't be much better, okay? They probably wouldn't kill off the cinema experience that we all love so much. They will, however, prioritize political messaging over creative freedom and supporting the director's vision. That would not be great either. So, either way, we're screwed. So,
Nice.
If you get anything out of this video, I hope it's the fact that you're not alone in feeling like this. And the future might suck a lot. Super suck, in fact. But we can always just go back and watch BTAS or play Arkham City. It's not easy loving this universe and the characters in it, especially when the future of your favorite characters are constantly hanging by a thread.
Very nice.
But if you're still here, you're not crazy. You're just a DC fan.
So, guys, it's a pretty interesting video. Let me know if you'd agree. Are we crazy for being DC fans? Or does it just suck? Let me know what you think. Don't forget to check out my Amazon store. I have all sorts of Superman stuff in one place just for you. And subscribe to this channel. It's my new reaction channel for superhero-related stuff. And remember, like Superman, live humbly, do good.